percent down here. I could be wrong. I'm not a physicist. I'm just a graphic designer. Anyway, so we're just running along here doing this, and we'll say for, you know, I'm just going to maybe throw in a bit more intensity down here. And for this particular thing, I think I am going to throw this down behind like so. So you get a nice effect. Now, we still have to put some lighting effects on the guitar itself. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad, but we need some highlights, you know, and specular, you know, pops and pings here and there. This is where the adjustment layers come into effect. Adjustment layers kick butt. It's a nice, fast way, and you can find them under layer, adjustment layer. It's a nice, fast way to make color adjustments, okay? You know, select color, switch, swap out color, exposure adjustments without damaging the actual layer itself. So for example, I'm just going to hue saturation, okay? And the first thing when you see hue saturation, you're going to notice that this particular item here is unchecked. It says use previous layer to create a clipping mask. I always keep this clipped on, usually. Basically what it does is that it applies this hue saturation layer only to the layer that is below it. So it kind of groups it, really. So I'm going to call this hue saturation, we're going to call it, if I can spell guitar, never could spell guitar. Anyway, so we're going to click on that, voila. Now you'll see that what's going on is that you got slider bars, and I can change the hue, which is all the colors in the rainbow, flash through. I can change the saturation, I can make it black and white. I can totally, you know, saturate the living daylights out of this particular thing and make it look like some psychedelic guitar. Do whatever you want, and it's totally undoable, you know. But what I really want to do right now is that I am going to give this some shadows. So I'm going to bring the lightness down. I'm going to, let's see, bring it to 0. And when everything is set at 0, by the way, just in case you have to go back to anything, that's the default view. That's the normal color that the picture came in with. So I'm going to darken this. And why am I going to darken it? I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to darken this. We're going to bring it right about down to there. So now this is dark. Now you see there's the hue saturation adjustment layer, and you see this little arrow downy thing here. I think it's a return arrow if I'm not mistaken, flopped either way. Anyway, this indicates that it is grouped with this particular layer. Okay, I can move this around, but I can ungroup it, I can do whatever, but for right now I want it linked up. So now what I'm going to do is select the hue saturation layer and go down here and make a layer mask. Oh, plot thickens, you say. So now I'm going to take this layer mask, okay, and I'm going to go over here, and what I want to do right now is mask away this darkness I've put on in some places. Why am I doing it this way? Because if I was to do it to the actual guitar, which is the old-fashioned way of doing it, it's non-reversible. If the client, for example, says, you know what, I don't like my guitar all dark like that, you can change it in a heartbeat. Or you can change it in a heartbeat with the hue saturation adjustment layer, or any of these adjustment layers. You can change everything very quickly, and nothing is carved in stone. So a lot of flexibility, which saves you tons of time. And efficiency is everything in this business. So anyway, back to the tutorial. So what we're going to do now is going to go to the brush. Okay, I'm going to make this brush a bit smaller. And what I'm going to do is use the black to mask off the adjustment layer, which was made dark. And you'll see that it's kind of behaving. You know, we're just going to, I like to work in very subtle gradients because it really gives a natural, you know, effect. So we're going to go in here, we're going to keep on coloring this away and masking off, and you notice up here, you see this is where it gets cool. I could go in, for example, just to show you, and make it 100%, and there you go. There's the mask removed at 100%. Okay, but what I'm going to do is go in, I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to add that back, and you see this is the flexibility of it, which is beautiful, and it gives you lots of depth and lots of control. And lighting is really, well, it's really all there is to 3D, you know, making correct 3D work. Shading without shade there is no depth. And that's what it's all about. So I'm just going to go in and maybe just add a little bit of darkness down through here, and a little bit of darkness down through there, just to give it a bit, you know, a bit more some depth. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're pretty close. So what about the highlights, right? Say I wanna give this thing a nice glossy sheen. Say I want this particular. There is actually a clear coat, a beautiful gloss clear coat. You can see the reflection of where it was taken. It looks like it was, well, it was laid out on a deck, so it's maybe a trellis or something reflected right in here, which should be taken out actually later on in post-production, but we'll get to that later. Anyway, we want to, you know, make that look cooler. So again, we're going to use an adjustment layer, and I'm going to go up to the layer, go to a new adjustment layer, and we can use the hue saturation again. We can use brightness contrast. I can use the levels. For example, I'm going to use, well, let's see what's easier. Let's use levels just because it's nice to do. So we're going to call this levels 1. We're going to call this highlights. I guess I have to take a spelling course. Okay. Oh, now see, I did this wrong. I want to make sure it's connected to the below layer. So I'm going to do it again. So we're going to go to new adjustment layer, levels. Click that on. Let's see. I'm going to call it light. Okay. Bonus. Now you see this is connected again. Now we have 3 sliders here. One slider is your midtone. It adjusts most of the detail. The other slider are highlights. And this slider down here, black, it controls the shadows. So what I want to do, actually, I'm just going to bring this up quite a bit. I'm going to pop this up and just bring the slider. And you notice whenever I move any of these sliders, the midtone moves with it. So I'm going to move this along, and I'm going to pop this out just a bit. Okay. Bonus. This is kind of what I'm looking for right now. So I'm going to go okay. So now you're looking at me. You're looking at this saying, you know what? That's just way too bright. That's too intense. That's okay, because I don't want it that to be intense. I just want it to be intense on certain areas. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to make a layer mask. Okay, and I'm going to go to. I'm going to switch these because I want to fill this with black. I want to erase or mask off this layer. Okay, so I'm going to go to edit. Edit fill, shift F5, foreground color, sure, pow. Okay, now it's back to normal. Here's the trick. I am going to keep that selected, and I am going to hit the white because I want to actually now remove that mask I put on in very small spots, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to paint on here, and you'll see what's happening is that now I'm getting this nice beautiful shine, this highlight all the way across. And by modifying the shade of a cutout image, you can give the illusion of depth that it's supposed to be there. Now, I would probably spend a heck of a lot more time on this particular piece, but for right now I'm just doing this quickly, and I would probably use a better photograph just with a higher focal range and a higher amount of detail. But you see what I'm getting at here. So now you're getting some really cool gloss effects, right? Now what if, for example, I want to have like that super shine. I'm going to make a shine go right across the bottom here. Piece of cake. I can take the lasso tool, I can use the pen tool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go lasso tool for this one. I want to put a little feather on it because I want to have it smooth. I'm just going to actually go and I'm going to just basically whoosh, draw right across like that. It doesn't have to be super cool. What you do want it to do though is follow the contour of the guitar itself. So there is a shape, there is a curve to this guitar, so you want to make sure that the actual line you draw with lasso tool is curved as well to I guess exaggerate the curves. This technique is, or a variation of this technique is used in the automotive industry for car ads. This is how all the cool sparkle and shine is added to the nice truck that you may have bought, and then you get it in your driveway and you find out, you know what, those shine lines aren't there. Well, this is how they did it. So you're going to go in. get your brush tool.